So it's that time of the year again, sales, discounts, big billion day. And if you're shopping in the 25K segment, there are a couple of very interesting options in Oppo's K13 Turbo and Motorola's Edge 60 Pro. On paper, they're pretty different, and depending on what you value, one might make a lot more sense than the other. Let's break it down. My name's Ash, you're watching C4E Tech, and let's get started. The K13 Turbo definitely leans into its gaming identity, anime-inspired accents, sharp lines, and yes, even a mini centrifugal fan to the back. It's flashy, it's unique, it's a conversation starter. But the trade-offs show up quickly. The back is plastic, it's a smudge magnet, and the whole thing has this blocky, wide build that's not gonna be for everyone. Now the Edge 60 Pro, on the other hand, it feels like it comes from a totally different philosophy. Slimmer frame, over 20 grams lighter, and a good 4mm narrower, which is a big deal in terms of how it fits in hand. Pair that with that curved display, curved vegan leather back, and it just feels more premium, more ergonomic, and way less slippery. Oh, and it doesn't pick up fingerprints. Advantage Motorola. And while it's impressive that Oppo's managed to get an IP rating on a phone with an exposed fan, the lack of dust proofing, that X in IPX, it still gives the Edge 60 Pro, well, an edge. Now talking about that fan, thanks to that, what you see here is basically a single camera setup. Well, technically it's a dual camera setup, but the secondary 2-megapixel monochrome sensor seems to do just about nothing. The primary here is a 50-megapixel Omnivision sensor, the OV50D, which is paired with an f1.8 lens that's not optically stabilized. And guys, to be honest, it just cannot compete with Motorola's 50-megapixel Sony sensor, the Light 700C. Just look at these shots. Even under good light, the difference is quite stark. Like, look at the sky here. Both cameras have done well, but when you look at the foliage in the foreground, Motorola has more details in the shadows. It kind of shows you the difference in dynamic range between these two. And it's not just the dynamic range. The Edge 60 Pro, it does better with texture, detail, and even the colors. Under low light, this difference becomes even more noticeable. To start with, the K13 Turbo takes much longer to shoot, and that, coupled with the lack of OIS, means we end up with shaky shots more often. Now here's another example. Even when the image isn't blurry, you can see that Motorola does offer better colors and detail. Just look at the number plate on this set. Now this one's another interesting set. See how we don't really notice a major difference in detail levels with the dog. But then when you look at the light to the back, see how Motorola has handled the highlights better? With video, on paper the K13 Turbo is the better bet since it offers 4K 60 while the Edge 60 Pro tops out at 4K 30. But when you see the actual footage side by side, video with the Edge 60 Pro is much more stable and totally free of the jitter you see on the Oppo. So cameras are definitely not the K13 Turbo's strong suit. Motorola wins this one by a fair margin, and that's without even factoring in Motorola's strong 50-megapixel ultra-wide and 3x telephoto, which is something you don't usually find in this segment. And by the way, the telephoto also has OIS. With selfies, Motorola offers a wider field of view and once again better dynamic range. See the sky in this pic? And this is even more noticeable when you're actually recording video. So cameras seem to be one area where there is no contest. The Edge 60 Pro just crushes the competition. Now Oppo does fire back with performance though. The K13 Turbo, it's got the Dimensity 8450, which benchmarks about 15% better than Motorola's Dimensity 8350 Extreme, though my units seem to constantly score lower. But that seems to be an issue with my unit. So anyways, with that fan on board, you'd expect sustained performance to be way stronger on the Oppo, right? Except it isn't. In stress tests, both phones throttle similarly, which honestly makes that fan feel more cosmetic than functional. For a gaming phone, I find this disappointing. Now, a couple of other things to note. The Motorola Edge 60 Pro starts at 8,256 and goes all the way up to 12,512, while the K13 Turbo's base variant is 8,128 and there's only another 8,256 option. Also, the storage tech is UFS 3.1 on the Oppo, while Motorola has gone UFS 4. Now moving on, battery is another area where Oppo has an edge. A massive 7000 mAh versus 6000 mAh on the Moto. But once you factor in the slightly larger display, the more power-hungry SoC, and yes, the fan drawing power, in practice you're looking at maybe 10% more screen on time. Good, but not game-changing, especially when the Edge 60 Pro already delivers all-day battery life, charges faster, and even offers wireless charging support. Now both phones run on Android 15 with their own skins and are both quite snappy and responsive. That said, Motorola's skin feels lighter, cleaner and less cluttered. Oppo, they load up a lot of bloatware right out of the box. Now with respect to updates, that's also favorable to Motorola. 3 OS upgrades, 4 years of security patches. Oppo on the other hand offers only 2+3. Now before we get to the conclusion, a quick word about the displays. For protection, Motorola's gone with Gorilla Glass 7i while Oppo's gone Crystal Shield Glass. The K13 Turbo's panel is slightly larger at 6.8 inches compared to 6.7 on the Moto. Similar resolutions, similar pixel densities, similar refresh rates. Moto does go brighter for HDR content, but the real difference here, it's gotta be that four-side curved versus fully flat panel. What do you feel about that? Now that's gonna be the deciding factor between these two. Personally, I like curved panels, I like how natural the swipes feel, I like how they help make the phone narrower, but I do get the other side of the argument, reflections, it's easier to find tempered glass for a flat panel. So anyways, what do we have here? Given the pricing is very close, the K13 Turbo, it's a very nice phone, especially if you like flat panels, and on paper, the whole gaming marketing with a fan, it seems to make it a strong contender. But given the fan doesn't really do much and the extra performance that you get is mostly left on the table, the H60 Pro does seem to make more sense in this segment, especially since it offers the segment's best cameras, longer support, better ergonomics, and even things like wireless charging for convenience. And that's my take. Between these two, which one would you choose and why? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Ash out.